let's see. You're taking minutes?
Yeah.
For tonight. And we'll open at. Let's see what time it is.
7:05.
All right, 7:05. And adjustments, I'd like to add to the agenda discussion of the makeup of the board with the new elections. We just call it elections. We can add that down after we talk about the town plan. That's okay with everybody? Good. So we'll just like make that 5.5. Discuss future of planning commission. And introductions, is there anybody on?
No.
No. So we can just, I think, dispense with that. We all know who we are. And then public comment, similarly, no public on. And so we move right into discussion of the town plan revision. And Luke Slomba is here for that purpose. And appreciate your sending the documents to look at. I've made some notes in the markup version of it.
Okay.
Send them to you, or we can go through. I think we're gonna go through them tonight, obviously.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan? Was it just maybe to go through that?
Yeah, I think just like use this as sort of a guide and go through it. Basically, what I did was I looked at the structure, the vision statement, and the goals and policies, and based on the public outreach and just going through the plan, made some suggested revisions to those. And yeah, I was hoping to get your feedback on that tonight before we move forward with going into the chapters and drafting. So there's one version that is just a clean document, and the other one has track changes from the old goals and policies, so you can see what the differences are.
Okay. So first of all, I think everybody probably will recognize in the documents that were sent, as well as what was provided to people here tonight, that we've gone from 14 chapters to 9. And that was after we had talked about trying to consolidate a few things at the last meeting. Glad to see that.
Yeah. So yeah, the consolidation, I looked at opportunities to cut down on the number of chapters. Education and childcare was moved into the utilities, facilities, and services chapter, and the all hazard resiliency was merged with the natural resources chapter into this new like environment and resilience chapter. And that was really just seeing there's a lot of overlap in the goals and policies that seemed like they would benefit from being integrated together into the same chapter. And then that way it also cuts down on the number of chapters as well.
I think that maybe we could change the name for the new chapter of facilities and services to something that maybe we can even think about it for all of the titles that said this is what we're doing for you. And utilities, facilities, services sounds kind of like something you'd see on an elevator.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you know, what is it that you're creating out of this now?
Yeah.
And so that might be a unique thing for us to think about. You know, last time we also looked at Grand Isle version.
Yeah.
And we liked the way it was laid out. We like kind of the connection it made to people that live there. I think it would be good to think about these chapter titles. It'd be something that caught a person's attention to, like, rather than the kind of stark utilities, facilities, and services of town provisions or
Yeah, even just like town services
yeah,
or
community services.
I like that.
Yeah, community, you know, where you describe the fact that this is a community.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and that's true. It's not just things that are provided by the town necessarily. It's also everything that serves the community and that.
you pull education in there.
Mm.
Nobody ever wants to think about their schools as being the same as the.
Yeah, utilities or yeah.
But I like, the way you've, started with it. I don't know if you had a plan, but I could go through some of the comments that I had.
Okay.
So the first thing is on the vision statement,
Yes.
and I feel like it's not a vision statement,
Mhm.
kind of a description of Bakersfield. And I liked it, actually, but I think maybe if it was to say something like Bakersfield's a quiet, small town with a strong sense of community where people are friendly and neighbors know each other. The purpose of this town plan is to preserve that
Yeah.
and to improve that, enhance that, etc.
Yeah, I think we can definitely frame it that way when it's integrated into the plan. Um, yeah, because I guess the way it's written is sort of, yeah, it's just a statement, but the idea is that this is consistent with the way that Bakersfield should be going forward in the future, and the plan is a way to achieve that.
Change,
Mhm.
but we want to manage that change so that we don't lose what everybody really likes about
Mhm.
Bakersfield.
Yeah, and that's part of the purpose of the plan, I think, too. I mean, which I know in the outline, that's underneath the vision statement, so. It's almost you can combine those almost, you know.
Yeah, you know, might look at the goals that we have for each of the 9 areas, or actually there's 8. Because chapter 1's introduction, that there's, you know, maybe some kernel in there.
Mhm.
Because we really want the vision statement to get people to read the rest of it.
Yeah.
We want the table of contents to get people to look at, oh, I want to look at the thing about community services.
Mhm.
That's and that sort of thing. And then I like breaking it down so that you can see what's in community services includes utilities, because there are a lot of people that are concerned about it. We should make it easy to see that. You know, the way people look at documents these days is that they take shortcuts.
Mhm.
The first thing they do is they look at the title page, then they look at the table of contents, then maybe they look at the executive summary. And that's kind of the proposed vision statement at the introductory chapter. And then maybe they get hooked into one. But mostly they're probably gonna look at the table of contents and find, oh, I wanna look at that first.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess while we're on the vision statement, is there anything that any of you think is missing from this that should be in there? Based on the outreach, I sort of went through a lot of the key things that people were mentioning over and over about why they liked Bakersfield or what they wanted to see in Bakersfield. But yeah, just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything big.
Here, all of you, what I think, because maybe you can give me some sense of it connects with you too. I moved here because I stopped at this house and I liked the house. But what really made me buy it was the view. Here in Franklin County, we are the beginning of the mountains. You know, it's Fairfield and St. Albans is kind of the lowlands, the farmlands, the lakeside. But we are the mountains, and I've always loved mountains. My house looks at the mountain. And I want to preserve that. And I feel like that might be something to share here, is that Bakersfield is the opening up of the northwestern Vermont
Mhm.
into the Green Mountains. And we want to cherish both the farmlands and the the lakeside that lead up to it, but also that which is to our east in the mountains.
Mhm.
And recognize that most people here may not want it to become industrial.
Yeah.
I feel like what people want here is small town bedroom community, and they go someplace else for bigness and commercial. And yet I think there's some things, and I make a note of it in April, that it might be some things that are lacking here that would be nice.
You know, that's good, that's good perspective, I mean, reason I moved here was because I found a partner that I could afford. I wanted to be a farmer, so.
Yeah.
And I do love this area, but one thing, I moved here, and I grew up near, fairly close by, but that area got totally overrun by. Transplants, I'll say, outsiders, and changed the whole way of that town. I like the kind of still small, very small town. Or,
We're never gonna be the big ag that you have out in Iowa, Nebraska. We are small.
yeah,
They're craft, yeah, if you're in Bakersfield, we're even more craft style, small style than. And St. Albans, and. So I think. We wanna preserve that smallness.
Yeah.
Whilst being close to everything bigger, like Burlington and St. Albans.
Yeah, and I guess one thing that came up a lot in the outreach was that people do want more small businesses in town that they can support. So like, not necessarily relying for all of their shopping needs, but just places in the community where people can gather and local businesses to support. So that is one of the more like aspirational things in this vision statement, I would say, the part at the end.
Yeah, I put a particular addition.
Hmm.
In about. A store.
Mhm.
People miss having a store here.
Yeah.
We've got a gas station. With something supposed to be a store. We used to have a general store and it was really good. But we don't anymore. And I somebody brought it up last meeting, I think, a co-op.
Hmm.
And I went to Putney, it's a great co-op down south last month. And their cooperative is just so perfect an idea. You could bring your stuff here, people that make crafts could bring it to the co-op. And people don't have to go all the way to St. Albans
Mhm.
or even Lucasville to get some things that they need. Maybe even a sandwich or a pizza because they don't want to make dinner because they've been hammering at something at their house all day long, which is mine. So I put that in, so I gotta be a way that I can look at all my comments for that. All right, so, yeah. I thought you could just see all comments. Maybe it's. Okay, so I'm gonna just move on down, so on, the next page.
utilities, or,
And your page is the same as these pages, Bill? When you say the next page, is that?
So I think it doesn't.
Yeah.
My computer's locked up. Stuff.
I thought the archaeological historical section was good.
Hmm.
Anything that really jumped out at me.
Yeah, and that part didn't change a lot too. That was already pretty good.
This. The utilities I had, that I just wanted to.
Mhm.
Better clear up. I don't know if we should mention like alternative energy in that. That's part of utilities, or that just be part of energy.
Yeah, so I think most of the energy stuff, since you're doing an enhanced energy plan, it'll go in there. And so that's why it's sort of separate from the utilities chapter, because it's sort of its own thing.
But we should talk about, I thought we should mention internet specifically there. In that a lot of people really want to make sure that they have access to internet throughout town, that is supportive of small business.
Yep.
Again, I think that could be something that's in our vision statement, is that we wanna support small business. You know, we're not worried about trying to have like a. Yeah, or even, a water treatment system, you know, we don't have enough money, and people put in. Like things that like use for the water treatment system, we're gonna be septic tanks forever.
Probably, you know, that is mentioned in here somewhere, but yeah, and that's been kind of in the town lane over the years, like discuss the possibility or, you know, the idea of it. But I think everyone realizes that's just not really a real.
Yeah, and I wonder whether we should even put some of those things in here. If people really don't believe it. I mean. Does anybody here feel like that, water treatment system for the village would be worth $1 million to?
Has that ever really been brought up?
I have never heard that
Yeah.
conversation in seriously.
No.
You know,
I mean, we have great soils for conventional septic in town, you know, and that's where your wastewater treatment would be, really, be serving the town, and most houses in the village have decent septic, right? Yeah.
We're lucky in at least in the village and outside to, get good soils
Yeah.
for topics.
Conventional, yeah. So I don't know, maybe we can take that up when we get to.
Okay.
or maybe we could even say, you know, we recognize that some municipalities want to grow their towns and invest in water treatments and other things of that nature. But we don't feel that that is necessary.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and basically what it says now is consider if and when a municipal wastewater system would be appropriate. If you don't think it's appropriate or not a priority at this time, then we could take it out of the plan.
No. Problems arise, I know you're not an environmentalist.
Yeah.
Engineer, conservationist, or relative to having communities that are entirely septic. And whether it presents a risk to the water supply.
Mhm.
Or to the community for any reason whatsoever, or is it pretty benign?
Yeah, I think the main reason it's an issue is that it really limits the density that you're able to have in your village, especially for businesses too. There's there's a business in Franklin that's having issues from not being on the or having to deal with their septic system, which they can't get approval to expand their business like they would like to. And it's basically just like a local place where they have events and food and stuff. And yeah, so I would say that's usually more of an issue than environmental concerns. Just sometimes it can limit what's able to happen in your village.
Yeah. Heard that the general store
Mm.
always had difficulty doing everything that everybody wanted there because of the septic system.
Mm.
That they had some difficulty because it's got renters above,
Mhm.
so it's not just their store. And I think they had a small area for a mound system and septic. Yeah, and so maybe we need to incorporate it into the plan that if Bakersfield is gonna continue to be more of a small orientation to it.
Mhm.
That we consider where some services are going to go.
Mhm.
Be planned more broadly and more thoroughly for the limitations that come with not having a water treatment system.
Mhm.
You know, people want a general store here, that's fine, but you just can't build it, you just can't take over a local 3-story house and say, okay, that's big enough. Where the septic system really can't handle a 2-story house,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's just hard sometimes with like the goal of a walkable historic village and having to sort of make compromises based on septic capacity of where things are located. Like you could put a store further out, but it wouldn't necessarily have the same benefits as if it was right in the center of the village.
Yeah.
Even that's without the ton of money to put in.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like a huge barrier, but yeah, yeah, I guess, yeah.
What I'm saying, maybe not, it seems like a whole lot, but it's also might be about right
Mhm.
for a small water treatment system like Enosburg.
Yeah, and there are towns that are doing that right now. There's Highgate and South Hero are in various stages of getting wastewater systems for their village. And I'm not sure about Highgate, but I know in South Hero, the town owns this like 22-acre parcel, I think, and they're going to use that as sort of like a field to disperse everything. And so they can have a community wastewater system. So there are towns that have been able to figure it out. And yeah, I think it's worth having in the plan if you think it would be good long term at any point. It doesn't have to be necessarily within the next 8 years even, but just to support the goals of the plan, this might be something that has to happen at some point. Mhm.
We may not be able to support multiple restaurants or even a large cooperative store without some significant changes.
Mhm.
Where, for example, South Hero, I think they've probably got 5 or 6 restaurants.
Yeah.
And some pretty large operations.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely larger than Bakersfield.
yeah, bigger population.
Mhm.
And tourists, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we should say to people that we actually had a petitioner come in here who was talking about a development and he actually made this kind of remark. It was almost like you didn't really want us to hear it, but it's not enough for us to hear it. But you're not gonna get any growth in this town to be putting a water treatment system. And I said, well, you know, I'm not sure if people in this town want
Hmm.
that kind of growth. Because there are some people that do come to wherever they live, or maybe have visions of where they currently have lived, that they wanted to grow.
Mhm.
But we need to share in this town plan that there are limitations. And that if you're going to have these things occur, you've got to take some big steps, like, you know, if you want to have a water treatment system, because you also want to have a couple of businesses in town that are more brick and mortar and process more frankly
Mhm.
human activity, you know. It's water usage, so, you know, large water supply and then waste water management. Okay,
One other thing,
yeah,
off the sewage inside. You gotta make sure that and as soon as possible, the town should. To make sure there's an area So down, to put
Mhm.
leach field,
Mhm.
because as things grow,
Yeah.
right now, there's only about one area
Mhm.
that you can use.
Yeah.
Where is that, Harry?
Huh?
Where would that be?
Okay, down, you know where, Josh lives?
Yeah.
Okay. That meadow going north, right in there.
Hmm.
Uh,
That'd be close to the river
that
there.
right there would be, the soils are good and it's plenty of room to have a leach field.
Mhm. Well, yeah, that would also be something good to put in the, because we're thinking about planning and making sure that we're looking ahead. So that is something that the town could think about now so that in the future that would still be available for a wastewater system if there was a need for one.
Who owns that land?
What's that?
Is Gage own that land or who?
No, it's, let me, I know, let me think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I finally got my system back up, and I'm sorry, my pages are not necessarily as they are here, but they're pretty, they should be good.
Okay. Yeah, and you can also feel free to send me that
Okay.
afterward too. And yeah.
But I do want to make sure that I share with my fellow board members, with my comments too. So under C, so I feel pretty good about the proposed vision statement. We've had some conversation there. With regard to, you have a comment in there as policy.
Yes. Yeah, so that is important. Basically, the language that you use in your policies does have an impact on the applicability of your plan, so it's good to be intentional about that.
So we should, for example, the policies under historic and archaeological service resources, we need to think about, do we want to change some of those encourage to protect or maintain or preserve, things of that nature that are more, as you were saying, enforceable,
Mhm.
as opposed to encouraging, which is more kind of almost hopeful,
Mhm.
not realistic. Then I'm gonna go to the second page, utilities, facilities, and services. The remote communication of Bakersfield, that seems, there's something missing there, I'm not sure. Maybe we could rewrite that. Is it supposed to be remote communication within or among Bakersfield residents?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is to me, like, personal, more like a personal communication.
Yeah, where to me. I feel like the way people communicate inside the town is by getting together for things.
Mm.
While this is really about utilities, facilities, and services, which is being able to communicate with a wider community. So maybe just a little bit of language changing.
Yeah. And yeah, this is something that was in your old plan that I didn't change at all. And I guess the way that I read it was all the telecommunications aspect, but then also like making sure that the town has facilities for people to come together and yeah, and events and yeah.
What the intention of that.
Yeah, yeah, it is a little hard to interpret and it could probably be worded better.
Down, it's food compliant interior spaces. Can we enforce that with private residences?
Um, I think the code, there are codes that apply to multifamily residences, so like anything duplex or more. And I think for single family, there's not necessarily like a code.
Interior.
Yeah.
Is exterior. When you don't
Mhm.
expand towards your property lines.
Yeah, I think this is mostly talking about like public buildings.
Yeah. Just be a little bit more specific, yeah.
Yeah, like I assume that this is probably talking about like ADA code and all of the other things that are required for.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that, in the end, we'll likely have some, better language.
We don't really have places like that. Actually have a Portland Tea Center, to see here.
Sadly, so many things outside of the school and the library really just don't get enough. And I don't know if just, using language in here is sufficient. I think, maybe we just need to say that because the school and the library are places where the community does seem to interact, that we encourage that and have methods and help both of those be places where people can do that. So the next is under policies for utilities facility. And it says, number 1, identify and plan for municipal equipment and facilities that need replacement, retrofit, or upgrade, and develop methods of financing. This all sounds like the select board. And I feel like, I know that when we take this to them, they have to review it. They have to approve it. I think we need to make sure that we have some sort of activity that really gets them to not just bless this, but read this. Because I feel like all of us sometimes get too busy and we say, oh yeah, I bet the planning commission did a great job and stuff, but really work about reading it. But then there's stuff in there.
Right.
And it's because I do that myself. I sometimes just don't have time to read stuff, and there are things in there that are essentially commitments.
Yeah. And something so there's the goals and policies, but there's also going to be an implementation section that says these are the tasks that need to be done to implement the plan.
You should assume that is that, because I can tell you for a fact it is, there isn't.
Yeah.
The library has one and the town has one, so there needs to be. You need to make sure that it isn't redundant, because it's almost suggesting it's not happening. There are a couple of other places I've underlined that's like, well, we're already doing it.
Yeah.
So we need to.
And I think that is a little bit of a sign that what happens in the select board and what happens in the planning commission are too often isolated from
Yes.
each other.
Yeah.
And the silos are not useful. It's actually better that there be a little bit more interaction. And that might be something we actually express here, especially since I think and this is something also we probably should, I changed 5.5 to be discuss the future planning commission, not just what are we gonna do about elections, because we made a commitment to all of us. I think we made it to you. Were you on that call where we said we would all be open to becoming a part of
The RV and
the design review board?
yeah.
Review board?
Did you end up bringing that to the select board? Okay.
We all said that we were going to be open to changing to a design review board and planning commission.
Okay.
That we would all serve, and that at least for the inaugural period, we could do it with a this review board that met monthly with a planning commission that met something like quarterly.
Yeah.
With the exception of this year, we're revising it out.
Yeah. Great. And did they end up signing the resolution? Okay.
Does they want to take it to the voters at town meeting?
You're taxing my brain. I cannot remember what we decided. I'll have to go back and look. It might be, I think that's it. I think it needs.
I would need to confirm that they have that option to bring it to the voters.
We just haven't.
Okay, so maybe they're not doing it, they just haven't
Yeah.
We haven't
acted on it.
acted on it.
Okay.
Because
Great.
it's not something that has to go to the vote.
No, it's not. Mhm.
We
You're
decided-
looking like it would probably be a problem taking it to the voters. So
Potentially. I'm not sure if that's,
Useful.
it created a lot of obstacles.
yeah, and it might just not be allowed from a process
Yeah.
standpoint. And
We just haven't acted on it yet. And I think we need some happen. Well, the agenda's gone out for next meeting. I'll make sure it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Find it.
yeah, I provided a resolution. Yeah, just one more thing while we're on this. I talked to some of my colleagues at the office, and basically we would be happy to do a training for DRB related things to make sure that you have any questions answered about the new process before that starts up. And we're talking about potentially April. Some people could come to that meeting and do that. So yeah, just quick sidebar there.
So then I moved on to, the next page, which to me looks like 5. And there's number 1, just above other, it's the police services. I just thought we should spell out what NWSWP is.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge issue in 2 and 3.
Mhm.
And that's unregulated storage of junk cars and other waste on properties.
Mm.
I think Vermont has this problem from border to border.
Mm.
You know, I sometimes drive along and I think tourists are coming through here and they think, oh, it's so beautiful. But they miss that place right there, the place over there. And I understand that you can miss that if you're seeing all the beauty. For those of us that drive in and live in it every day, I'm frustrated by it. The idea of a transfer station for processing junk vehicles. I don't know where that came from, but it's brilliant. We should have some sort of way that if you want to get rid of that junk in your yard, in your barn, we'll help with that. Because it, you know, they say that if you declutter your house, your personal feelings about life improve immensely. And I think that the same thing happens in a community when you beautify.
Mhm. Yeah, and this was something that was in your old plan that I'm assuming like just never got acted on, but we could definitely make it a bigger priority in this plan and, you know, put some clear actions in the implementation section.
Well, they could be, and you find that somebody would pay to have that stuff. Because there's money in all that metal. And if the town says, you know what, we'll open it up, we'll create, you know how they collect old tires? Or they collect Green Day, we have Junk Day. And they bring in the scrapyard people, scrap metal people, and they come in and they take it.
I think cars is a whole different thing, and I think if we had Mr. Stone up here to discuss that, we might have a. It's like,
It sort of has a
He does have a transport station.
At least,
But
lifted that much. Sounds like it isn't really, sounds like for him, it's more like those are like insurance.
It's an insurance deal, it's waiting for the insurance companies to do their bit, yeah.
it's a matter of title, I think, because
Yeah.
when it's insurance, it still remains title to the person that had that accident. But when it's junk cars and no longer title, that's what a lot of people have on the problem. I don't know, I just feel like 2 and 3.
Out of there though, you know, like say you have 5 junk cars, none of them run. You drag them down to the transfer station.
Yeah, you would have to have a record of actually track them on to, that's expensive, it's not easy. But I think if we're gonna have it in there, then we should actually have something a little bit more that, this is the 15th year of saying this. if this is a holdover from one of the older town plans.
Yeah.
It's just not appropriate for us to keep passing on these ideas that they're not going to work.
Mm.
We should say something like, rather than prohibit the unregulated storage of junk car, I think there's already laws. I remember I talked to somebody in Department of Environmental Conservation, who was the junkyard director.
Guru, there was a whole, there was
Yeah.
a huge conversation around this when Carl was,
Why?
his place into,
But you can't have more than so many unregistered vehicles.
it's
It's
very.
the registration. But they can't enforce it.
Yeah.
There was like one guy in the whole state, and the whole state's covered with it. So there's, if we're going to say something here, let's actually be realistic about it. Say, a lot of people would like to deal with their, where there might be junk. Let's see if we can find ways to actually financially make it happen.
Is that language requiring the cleanup of these existing sites? Well, that's a lovely concept, but who is going to police that?
Right. We can't even get a dog catcher.
Well, we know we have one. We have a great deal. Took us years to get.
Well, maybe they can,
Junk.
maybe the dog catcher can double as a
Yeah.
junk collector.
It will happen. And that's the deal. We gotta find out.
Yeah, I remember last time when we were discussing this same topic there was talk of ticketing people. That's,
Mhm. Yeah, the town could do some sort of ordinance against junk and then enforce that through fines or however, but
Trouble is, that punitive approach to me is not,
helpful.
I mean, we're neighbors, we're not gonna.
yeah, it's
No,
not, if it's not necessarily offering a solution, yeah.
And I would like to think that the operation down here every Saturday to take all of our plastic, aluminum and other junk, like Northwest Solid Waste District, that they might be a part of the solution, that we could find a broker out there
Yeah,
who would help us. Not everybody wants to get rid of their junk cars. There are people that seem to think it's either they're building a fortress around their house, or they actually think that they're gonna make money off of it someday. But we've gotta say, we need to find a financially beneficial means of helping people, incentivizing
yeah,
cleanup of some of our spaces.
Mhm.
Because I can tell you myself, I just sometimes don't know what to do with some things.
yeah.
You don't have outlets for them. But
Yeah.
there are outlets.
Well, this isn't necessarily applicable, but in the town that I grew up in Connecticut, they had like a bulk trash day every 6 months or so, and you could pretty much just leave whatever you wanted, whatever size out on the curb, and the city would come around and collect everything. So maybe, I don't know, maybe something like that where it's, yeah, and everyone can just get rid of everything, and the town and the solid waste district do things to make it easier.
Big solid waste district has,
Mhm.
maybe the Department of Environmental Conservation has some connections too. But we would want it to be that somebody's making a profit on it, because that's the incentive that's needed.
Yeah, we can definitely have more specific language in here about ways to find a solution.
Was it might include in there the internet access.
Yeah, I think that could be a separate additional policy.
You know, I'll be honest, I think a lot of people, they think their phone is the internet. They don't even think of a laptop.
Yeah,
So I think it fits together there, it might be telecommunications and internet access. Because oftentimes they're solved by the same thing, which is some sort of antenna system that connects to the rest of Right, and then on municipal facilities.
Mhm.
There's
Like to go on to the
yeah,
telecommunication.
yeah, let me,
One of the big things that you look at, you're saying it's just for the Bakersfield resident.
Mhm.
It isn't for just the Bakersfield resident.
Yeah.
It's the people coming to Bakersfield
Mhm.
and, going through.
yeah,
We got the tree farm.
Mhm.
And we have people come up and they can't get hold of us, but how come on cell phones? It didn't work up here, no, it just bugged the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Can't believe.
well.
Yeah, so maybe instead of just residents. Mhm.
Okay, Route 36. Already,
Yeah,
so many dead spots, and that's where the accident happens, always in the dead spot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the state has a policy. For trying to make sure that the highways have kind of seamless. Telecommunications. I think it would be useful for us at least to start, let's say, Route 108 and Route 36. Need to have kind of seamless telecommunication. Because they're the way people go through, come to and depart from Bakersfield.
Mhm.
And the most traveled, if we can't get it out in Larry's house up on the mountain, that's one thing, but we gotta have it on our main thoroughfare.
They have it.
Sometimes the higher you go, the easier it is.
Mhm.
That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah, so I think instead of to meet the needs of residents, it could say meet the needs of residents and visitors. And then also something about the safety aspect in there too.
Exactly. Some language that you might need from the community survey that we did.
Hmm.
For and I would love to see quotes from the community survey
Mhm.
go in the town plan.
Yeah.
You know, I like how in your table of contents you had the outreach.
Mhm.
We want to make sure it's quite clear for people to read this plan in the future that we did significant outreach. We got a lot of comments.
Yeah.
And I think if it could be that if we were to put in, somebody said this and put it in quotes. That makes the town plan not just this bureaucratic mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Actually, we listen to people. This is what they said. And this is what we do on the town plan.
Yeah, yeah, and when I'm going through the chapter text, I can definitely look for opportunities to do that and insert some quotes, because yeah, I think that would be great.
And then, are you, all right now to go on to the next thing?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all right.
About the junk cars. Hey, you know what you go by every day.
I'm trying not to be.
Okay.
Correct.
But I'm gonna bring it up. It's not only junk cars, it's junk, and then when the tractor dies, everything. If it's a wagon dies, it's there. When, whatever it is, whatever machine, it dies, it stays there where it died. And it's unreal, the number of died vehicles,
Mhm.
died.
Their vehicles litter the island.
It's unreal.
That's why I feel like that if you got a scrap metal guy, like the people out at Sellers. Out by Greensboro Garage, what's the all metal? Hardwood. Yeah, all metal recycling. I bet if you told them that we would set up a day in Bakersfield every year. That you could drive around with your trucks and pick up all the scrap metal and, that you get tractors, wheelbarrows and old. Snow throwers and all this stuff, people would put it out on the side of the washing machines and trucks.
Yeah. And it would probably be worth their time too, because
Cause I took a trailer full of scrap metal over to all metal recycling. And I left with $1,000. And I was surprised, I thought I might get $100. And I got, they paid really good for that.
So, can you imagine what they could sell their tractors and everything is metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could get.
And that's the thing people don't know about. And for us who are aware, we wanna share these ideas, and we wanna act on these ideas in the town plan to some degree. You know, we're not.
Yeah.
It's not a plan for actually getting it done, it's trying to share that vision.
And there are people that, the guys that buy things too. I mean, they'll come right there and say, okay, I'll give you so much.
Right, right. Yeah, that will be the thing is. You put your thing out there and they'll come knock on your door and they'll give you cash for your check. Washing machine will dry it.
Yeah.
Even if it's $10. I'd rather, have $20 for washing and dryer than nothing.
Yeah, and I'm sure not everyone wants all of these things laying around on their property anyway. They just might not know how to get rid of them.
For municipal facilities there, like number 2 is restore Brigham. I think that's been sold now, so I don't really know.
It hasn't been sold, but there is a plan in progress. They've got a year to come up with
Could
8 months.
Could we change that to be that try to support the conversion of the Brigham Academy building? As opposed to, we're marketing it. Let's get the town behind it. Maybe, I don't know if you know this, Luke, but
Mhm.
that academy, obviously it's from the 1800s. It taught its last time, probably in the 60s, 1960s, I think. 80s. Was it 80s?
Oh, they built the new school.
So, yeah, okay, so, 50 years ago. But there was a time when the town actually voted to really fix it up.
Yep.
And somebody challenged the vote and went to a revote and it failed that vote.
Oh, wow.
And it sat for another several decades. And it's gotten somewhat worse. Thankfully, they put enough money into putting a roof on it to keep it from
Mhm.
literally falling on.
I
So,
think your organisation has been doing a lot of work on it, so you probably know more than we do.
I'm not sure that I do. There's probably people I should talk to at my office about this. I haven't been directly involved, but
But it's been a problem and an issue for 50 years. That's why I say, let's take this opportunity in this town plan to say, we want to unite around the transition of that vacant building into something that will benefit housing in Bakersfield. And hopefully housing for senior members of our community.
Hmm.
As opposed to, we're just trying to market.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's good to keep that vision in here of what it should be used for.
Because it does, I mean, on the board now, it has many ideas. We narrow that down. With some of that.
Yeah, some of those things you just not. Good.
In that same area, establish and maintain a website, so we have done that.
Yep.
We have established a new website.
Yeah. So I guess it's just the maintain part of that now.
They to seek ways to make the town website more meaningful and valuable to the town population. There's some reason people aren't going there, because it's maybe not as interesting, but maybe we could just get this in essence, this other thing. That's why I say, instead of, just saying, well, we now have a website.
People are using it. There's a lot more traffic than we used to have.
That's good, that's good. So now that it's established, let's see how we can support its growth as a meaningful information sharing about the community.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm.
And underneath that, we have the bottom thing there is support programs such as parent community, team centre, and success by six, none of which exist anymore.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. That was from the old plan.
Because I think these things, they're sort of organic, they come and go depending on all kinds of things. Whether it's people's energy, whether it's need, whether it's money, and I know that, so the school at the moment does have what is essentially a non-profit childcare. It's not Leaps, it's what they use when that program is running. Sharon Lloyd is involved with it, so I think these things change over time. So if we would come up with some language that somehow supports that, you know, we don't want to name program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Provide incentives and other support for people who are trying to develop community centers and activities.
I think activities, because it's not really.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, we've just started senior lunches once a month. There's a free lunch program in town that just started in, I think, January was the first one. So, where? It might be in the church kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like, yeah, support programs that provide activities for youth and children, something like that. Youth, children, and seniors. Mhm.
I went to this really awesome presentation by a man from Sweden where they put old people next to young
Young
people.
people, that's it.
And the old people
Yeah.
take care of the young people.
Hmm.
The young people love
Energize.
hearing about the old people, and the old people feel like they're meaningful again. And we should encourage that sort of thing in our community.
Well, the Brigham Academy, it looks pretty good. You probably know me more than that. But the people that wanna put
Senior housing.
senior housing in there. And what that does, it opens up other housing,
Yeah.
because there's seniors right in Bakersfield. They would love to get into a senior housing, you can't get in.
They don't wanna go to St. Albans, they're gonna stay here.
And you go to St. Albans and you can't get in.
There's not enough.
Buffalo there, can't get in,
Right.
you know, so. Well, once that's in, it's really good. It not only helps the building and does something there, but it also opens up a lot of, you know, if it's, I don't know, what is it? 18, 19, 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
That many houses, but I think it's.
We should recognize in the town plan that Vermont, like a lot of America, is an aging population.
Hmm.
And that population will appreciate the opportunity to remain living here. And I think there's some language already in here about some people that wants.
Yeah, I think in the housing chapter, there's some.
But that we may also find that bringing older people together in one place gives them a kind of, and the Brigham could be an example of that.
Mhm.
But it also opens up those homes that they vacate for young people to purchase or rent.
Yeah, right.
For the cascading effect.
Big shortage.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
There's a linkage there that we should point out to the readers.
Yeah, we can definitely, yeah, I think that can be a big part of the housing chapter and the solutions that we propose in there.
So then, under policies, under transportation, this was another one of those instances where I felt like there was a lot here that was the select board and the, I always call them the road crew, but there's another name for that. What is it? Our town highway department?
Yeah, something like that.
I just want to make sure that they have an opportunity to look at this and give us a sense that all of this, and maybe you have already looked at this from the state statute perspective. I just don't know enough about that whole section of transportation goals to know if those are accurate, I'm assuming because you didn't edit them, that they're okay.
hmm Yeah, they're definitely okay from like a plan standpoint. But
You explore the possibility of changing the recreational ATV ordinance, or changing it to what?
yeah, I wasn't sure what. Yeah, so if that was already done, then we could remove that. I wasn't sure.
Talk about recreational use on the legal trail, because that, a lot of people recreational use doesn't mean ATV use.
Yeah, and those wouldn't be allowed on
They just keep it for use, so.
for like non-motorized recreation. Mhm.
Legal trails status and keep the right of way, and legal right of way kept for future use. So we would still be able to have those roads potentially as part of the town, but not necessarily for ATV use or specifically.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of problems with ATVs in this town.
Yeah.
And I don't really personally have any significant awareness of it, but I know that there are a lot of people that do. And I'd like to try to make sure that we understand what the issues are here. And maybe come up with some language that recognizes that, one, there are people who are concerned about the destruction of private property. But two, there are many people that enjoy coming to Bakersfield as a destination for some hobbies.
Mhm.
We need to combine those two in a manner that works for all. That's why I feel like I'd like to eliminate a lot of these platitudes and really talk about it like, we've got these situations, there's left and right. We need to find a way to meet in the middle here. And the town plan might describe how we work towards that.
Mm.
Because I think there's value in both of those opinions. But people come here, they might spend the money here. If there was like no place to be that, really. And what they do is sometimes they destroy some power. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I went to a meeting here where there was a lot of things.
So, and it is very much a community activity. It's something that people value, being able to enjoy their recreational.
Yeah, people mentioned it in the survey specifically. Yeah.
Part of the fabric of our community that people do that.
It's like hunting. There are people that don't like hunting. But there are people that really do, and we want to have both. We want to observe, where people don't want hunting on their property, but also the ability for hunters to go out and contribute to the game that they eat, and also for managing the population of animals.
I wonder if it would be useful, particularly with this section, to have a work session with the select board, because some of these, I mean, like number 7, design all future roads, including public conducting never to be taken over and or maintained by the town standards approved by the select board. Well, I would argue quite strongly that happens. I mean, I don't know when that doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know enough about
Yeah.
how the town interacts with regional and state road management.
Mhm.
Like, for example, I saw in here the Transportation Advisory Committee,
Mhm.
that it was changed from participate in to continue to participate. Is that because Bakersfield is a good participant in TAC?
Well, I think it's just by virtue of being part of the NRPC, and the NRPC as the Transportation Advisory Committee. Mhm. Mhm.
He said we're having difficulty getting people to come to TAC.
Mhm.
And we need to, I would like to encourage our town highway department to engage with TAC, because it is very meaningful.
Yeah, well, then we could even maybe say something like increase participation, or yeah.
Because I don't know what it is, but I think you're right. I like that idea is if there was an opportunity to have a meeting with the Smith to talk about. That might be good for
Mhm.
everyone.
Yeah.
I kind of read number 7 as future roads, which, that's just in general, we haven't really added any new town roads, I
Right.
think, right? I'm here and. Yeah, so,
Yeah,
I think that's.
a lot of
I think the trouble is when I read that, it was sort of from the assumption that it's not happening or might not happen, and it's like, it definitely is
Yeah.
done correctly, so.
And then, I think Sunrise or whatever the road that goes out.
Sunset.
That's a new one.
That's private, yeah.
Relatively,
Private.
those are both private. Right, so.
But they.
Sunset,
Mhm.
like the town to take it over.
Well,
Sunset,
yeah,
don't they?
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of what this is talking about. It's like if a developer designs a road that they want the town to take over, make sure that they're designing it according to the town standards so that they could take it over and it would meet all the standards. Hmm.
Goes in at the cul-de-sac at the end of the road, they're not an hour for themselves. But once 13 houses go in there, they don't want to do it for everybody.
Mhm.
They want some sort of organization. On number 14, under policies,
Mhm.
and transportation, is it really that the most recent V-Trans town road and bridge?
It's
standards
13 years old.
Yeah, I was trying to research that and I couldn't find a more recent one, but I might talk to our transportation expert and just verify that because that does seem pretty old.
COVID's. I think we lost 5 years. All right, so moving on to, energy. So you struck out everything there and we're gonna have goals and policies from the enhanced energy plan. Can you share what your thoughts are relative to what we're going to do to have an enhanced energy plan in this town plan?
Yeah, so basically NRPC has a template for municipal enhanced energy plans that we just updated last year. So it would be working off that template that we know meets all of the requirements and then tweaking or refining it with you to make sure that it makes sense for the town. But since it's sort of based off this separate template, I sort of removed it from the goals and policies here since those will be updated along with that whole other process.
How old policy from the new energy plan, you feel like it's kind of built into the new enhanced energy plan, so it's not a whole lot of work for us.
Yep. Yeah, there's sort of like a menu you can choose from of which goals and policies that you want to include.
Is that? We have ways for future site,
Yeah, yeah, so that's the part that's enforceable, like what you put in the enhanced energy plan will be taken into account.
So, one of the things I noted there is in the outline, we call it environmental resilience.
Yes, yeah, so that's a new title that I proposed and okay. Yeah, I forgot to update it here.
You can have one store come through here, like it has in Linden and in, the old Route 100 down in Spine, it is not this during traffic during my read, and we're devastated. And that's resilience. About that.
I have a question. I saw that you struck the original number 2 on that.
Let's see.
Quality. Assets.
I think that language got merged into. Let's see.
Yeah, it's good cat.
Yeah, I think my thinking was that was very similar to the first goal, which also talks about protecting irreplaceable natural resources, but also sort of lists some examples of those.
So, when we get into not just here, natural resources and nutrients, but I think there's another section below. We talk about, and we talk about view sheds.
Yeah.
We don't mention view sheds at all.
Hmm.
And I feel like I said in my opening statement here tonight, that that's one of the things that we all like.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's that almost anywhere you go is a beautiful view. And, you know, we do talk about in this outline, wind turbines on ridge lines,
Mhm.
things like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like we want to go a little bit beyond that to make sure that energy and telecommunications projects are developed to preserve view sheds because they are appreciated by, and it's not just to encourage, but it's actually to restrict
Mhm.
development.
Using that as-
Well, you know,
I think-
if you don't do it, then you're gonna end up, you could have a wind turbine in your backyard,
So.
and you have a beautiful view, right? Well, you could have.
That's fine, that's
Yeah, but
the
it's-
sore point. No, and I know this is a. This whole issue of cell towers and the safety issue that we've talked about and the need for telecommunications and that balance of preserving what we all love about Bakersfield
Mhm.
is a really delicate balance. And I don't know what the language is. I would hate us to say we can't have it here. And the result of that is we have nothing.
Can we be specific about places that we would like to preserve?
You can identify specific scenic resources and view sheds that the town wants to preserve in the plan.
Professor. That as you come from St. Albans out of East Fairfield towards Bakersfield, that view shed where you see the mountains clearly that are behind Bakersfield, that's a view shed we would want to protect. You wouldn't want wind turbines and solar farms and other things to be etched across there or cell phone towers. The second one would be looking from Bakersfield into the Montgomery and Cold Hollow area, especially to our east, because they are where the mountains of where the Green Mountains should open up out of Bakersfield. Those are the view sheds that I'm thinking about that we would preserve. So maybe restrict is the wrong word there, but I like your thoughts of balancing needs for safety, communications, commerce, and also for the elements of life in Bakersfield people want to preserve
Mhm.
in the siting of energy and telecommunications infrastructure.
The whole thing is, this is my thing. Up in the Northeast Kingdom, when we went hunting,
Yeah.
I'd see a tower. And that's where I wanted to hunt, cause like my cell phone, I could get it. But no, because you shoot a moose out in the boonies and you
Yeah.
call a horse, I mean, it's somebody with a horse,
Yeah.
you know. So that's why I hunted in that, but when I saw the towers, it's beautiful. I don't think one tall tower really breaks up the whole thing.
Unless it's in your backyard.
Huh?
Unless it's in your backyard.
No, no.
Well, I can tell you that there's an actual tower that's being, proposed on property just on the other side of the Bakersfield Enosburg line.
Yeah.
And all of the neighbors right there are totally against it. because it's in their backyard.
Yeah.
It's always not in my backyard, we call it NIMBY principle. And so I don't want to think of it from a perspective of individual, I like to think of it from the perspective of a town. What do we want people to see and remember about Bakersfield? Is it that as they come in, they see junk, or they see towers, or that they see mountains and trees? There's a reason we don't have any billboards in Vermont. They outlaw, because they think it takes away the beauty of Vermont. And, yeah, and
But I mean, I hear both sides, like everyone here seems to want self-service, which means
It's gotta be
silent somewhere. So,
Yeah, I mean, something we could say something like, in these view sheds, like take scenic resources into account in the siting of things, not necessarily restricting, but just thinking about that as one of the things that you're regulating when deciding where to put these things. Yeah.
And, I understand that there's a lot of difficulty, for example, trying to get a property owner to actually lease the land.
Mhm.
Not everybody wants to do that. Right? So, it's not a easy thing, but I think it's something for us to express. We
Mhm.
don't want to express just, we want more cell phones, we want more internet, we want more energy. We should also say what we want it in a fashion that preserves the rural element and the view.
Yeah. And I'm seeing later in the land use policies, there's also one about regulating the development on scenic ridge lines, including the siting of cellular and wind towers. I think that would be a good place to have some clearer policy that's enforceable. Like these are the scenic views that we want to protect.
All we know, Fairfield Pond, a place a lot of people like to go recreate. There are also people that bought expensive homes and built expensive homes there. And there's a proposal to put wind turbines on the ridge line there. And I could imagine that if I spent a large amount of money for a view, I would be upset too. And it's all because they're making a choice that they want to put it there versus in their cornfield, which also could get strong winds too. So
It's not a problem we will solve here, but I will tell you in parts of Europe now, views are taxed. So if you have a house with a fabulous view, you will have higher property taxes. Which maybe that would be a way of.
yeah,
Well,
I think
I didn't say
that. Like I think that some people do pay more because they're the best people.
But I don't think you, yeah.
But that's just a freebie.
We're not gonna solve this problem here. But I think,
Pay more if they get cell phone coverage.
yeah.
That's true too. I bought my house, one of the reasons is to have internet already.
Yeah.
So if we can move on, I know it's already 8:30, gosh. On number 4 under policies, it's a bullet there, it says carefully control runoff and erosion should during, it's just.
Oh yeah, that should be taken out.
Next, didn't really see any problem with anything else after that, but oh yeah, so it's just before, policies, on page 9.
Yeah.
And it's number 17.
Mhm.
It says continue to participate in the Franklin County Mutual Aid Group, is that the EMS and fire group? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understood what that was. Because that is good.
Hmm.
And then on page 10, policies number 3.
Under housing.
Yeah. this is, I think, the kind of language that I think is really good. Again, I'm trying to strengthen that word encourage to um, work with developers and landowners to site new housing plans. Because I feel like if people get together and talk about things, they can often find common ground.
Mhm.
And it's just that we don't do it enough, and I'd like to promote more of that. And then number 7, it says ensure that land use regulations do not restrict multifamily and manufactured housing in appropriate locations.
Hmm.
What is an appropriate location?
I think so. Basically, there's a state requirement that in your housing section, it can't have the effect of, prohibiting multifamily or manufactured housing in an unreasonable way. So, for example, if there were parts of the town that made sense for duplexes or mobile homes, you couldn't say like duplexes and mobile homes are not allowed in the whole entire town. So that's basically the intent of this policy is just to
How we plan for that? More specifically than just saying appropriate location.
Well, it'd be in your zoning. Um, so like, for example, you couldn't have it as a prohibited use throughout the whole town.
So do we say that we prohibit it?
I don't think so. I mean, I would assume that your zoning is okay on that aspect, but just keeping it in there as a policy to make sure that that goal is being met and that any future revisions to your zoning wouldn't have that effect.
Would it say something like as accorded by state law, something that's.
Yeah, in accordance with state law. Yeah, because that's also on the one before that too. So we could say that also for 7.
Because that's what it said.
Yeah, that you're gonna follow the state law.
So, specifically, it's number 7 on page 10. Under policies in housing. It says ensure that land use.
Yeah.
Regulations do not restrict multifamily and
No, right.
manufactured housing. And then what we're saying is rather than say appropriate locations is to say in accordance with state law.
Mhm.
That's good. No, there is a problem there.
Yeah.
The only way that you can restrict a building is if it's in the deed that you can't have any. And if you're a developer, you gotta have it in each deed. Or it blows it away,
Yeah.
but you can do that.
Yeah, I think under land use on page 10, there's some good language there. I think rural character, scenic resources,
Mm.
that's good language that I think is useful to repeat
Okay.
multiple times around here, wherever it's relevant.
Mhm.
Because I don't want it to be, it's just land use, it's actually about a lot of different infrastructure that might occur. Then, promote, this is policies on that same page, promote new development areas of existing infrastructure and services. Can we include in there not just roads, power, water, but
Mhm.
energy and telecommunications facility?
Sure.
Yeah, so I think a lot of this was written before these issues of telecommunications and energy projects actually blossomed. And I think it should bring it up to date.
Mhm.
You got that comment on number 7 about it's likely not clear enough. So not clear enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's sort of what I was saying earlier is we could make this policy more specific to say what the ridge lines are and how they would be protected. and regulated specifically. And that would be. Yeah, I can look into it, what the wording would need to be to make it enforceable. Yeah,
But also that balance in there, and there needs to be that would be the place to have that recognition that we're not saying no, we're saying, let's be mindful of that.
Let's plan for it.
Yeah.
All right, good.
huh?
Character is a tough.
Yep. Oh yeah, that was another comment too, was instead of just saying character, it'd be good to explain what you mean so that, yeah. Well, yeah, because if you're like, this doesn't fit with the character of our town, that can be like whatever, whatever you want it to mean if you don't want it to happen. Yeah. So yeah, I tried to make that one more specific.
It says strongly encourage landscaping and site design that reduces adverse impacts. Can we be more specific about what adverse impacts are? And feel like that is left to.
Mhm.
Ambiguous.
Yeah, I mean, there are some policies that I guess address that more clearly, like the subdivision review one directly in front of that says respect the natural features of the landscape and specifically says which impacts are to be avoided. So
Yeah, so it might be combining.
yeah, we could say lot layouts, landscaping, and site design.
Yeah. Perfect. I think that might be one of the solutions in a number of these cases. Combining some language that's already there would maybe useful as well.
Yeah.
And then economic development.
Yep.
Can we actually advocate here for a cooperative or a cooperative based community store?
Definitely.
Because I feel like that was in the, I believe it was in the community survey.
I think I like some quotes on that, I'm sure there.
I would love to share a number of, some fraction of the survey respondents
Mm.
want a store.
Yeah.
Used to have.
And there were some efforts to do that, and it stalled for a variety of reasons, so I think if there was more recognition of this is a want/need of the town.
Yeah.
might have some more traction.
And it probably needs more planning.
Yeah.
For example, the place that was a general store, they had this issue with the problem of the septic.
Right.
And then, so maybe there's a way that the town can help. Or maybe there's a better
As a
place
place or
for it.
Yeah.
There's a group of six who were like up against all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think, yeah, documenting it in the town plan will also be a big help too if there's any sort of future like grant applications or anything, documenting the community need and want for that sort of thing.
Small businesses
Mhm.
that could sell their products in that cooperative.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's the last one
I just have, I noticed a number 4 involves there's another one of those character.
Oh, yeah, that are consistent with the town's character. Yeah, so maybe that could be clarified in the same way that the other one was. Like, by character, we mean like historic buildings and compact village center.
all have support small business. And again, that goes back to the vision statement.
Mhm.
Well, this was very helpful.
Great. Yeah, I'm glad we just made it through a lot of goals and policies. So yeah, and thanks for looking at them and considering them.
This was a little bit of an easy and ask. So we're gonna do a little more reading. And,
Yeah, it's true. The chapters will be more text heavy probably.
But I think this was a good example of how to do this.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, so now that we've done this and sort of outlined the whole plan, we can take a few chapters every time we meet and I will propose changes to them and we can sort of review your comments and feedback.
Touch on transportation, having that meeting with the select board. So that it's that sort of. If the expertise is with highway department, you know.
Yeah, so when we get to that chapter,
That's when
we should schedule
Yeah.
a meeting with the town highway department and select
Yeah.
board and us.
Yeah, and I think it might be a good opportunity to have a joint meeting anyway where, you know, you talk about other things that need to be communicated.
Might be a good time to like clear up our questions.
Yeah. So in terms of the next meeting, I noticed that the date is the night before town meeting day. And I was wondering if there's any conflict with that or if we need to move it. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
So we don't like to interfere with that.
Yeah. So we could do maybe the third Monday in March instead of the first Monday. Um, so that way it doesn't conflict with the select board. Or if there's another date that could work. Hmm.
So the main thing is that I want to make sure that we can do this. And this might go with our discussion about future planning. We relied on Tammy before you and now you. You know a little bit better, but not enough. We struggled with this last.
Heather knows how to use this. I mean, John set this up for us tonight and he is very willing to come down and do that.
Yeah, cause we
But
had a
sometimes-
little show around here last week. And everybody.
That being said, I am gonna work with John to actually have how to set this up for dummies.
Yeah. Either a training or even a checklist, I love that.
Because I think all of us could do it, it's just.
We just need to know, on that laptop, you
It's
do
the
that,
benefit, not
those laptop, you do that.
How about I make sure that happens? Because we need it at the select board too, because there are days when John can't make it.
And then we should all be able to,
Yeah.
because we never know when one of us is. Okay. So, looking at the month. So we're talking the March. Actually, we'll do the same day, second, because February is just. So that would be. We could put it off until the 16th. Is that 16th work for everybody?
Yeah. Sugar would be one.
March 16th.
Okay.
That'll give you a little bit more time to get us something to work on.
Mhm.
Before we get back.
Yeah.
And maybe then, this is sort of gonna go into your next item, but that gives us some time to get the word out at town meeting day and on the website and town crier that there are opportunities for people to get involved.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
Yeah, and the project website is updated now too, and I'll make sure to keep that up to date.
I mean, it's the worst.
Yeah,
year.
that makes sense. And maybe in March it'll be a little better or not.
Daylight longer, there's still snow, but we
But
know.
there's hope.
Survive. So yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, great.
And, so we'll warn for March 16th.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
And the agenda is gonna be pretty much the same as this one, isn't it?
So as far as I know, I'm not hearing anything from. And hopefully she knows, pass on, there are applications.
Yeah.
So I will work on an agenda for March 16th to send out, and I'll get it out sooner than that. So, but until the last week, before I should get it out. Earlier.
We should add to it approving the minutes of the previous meeting too.
So we do have that here. But this one,
So we do, that's it, sorry, I missed that.
that's all right,
My brain's split from it.
that's okay. Do we have minutes?
I wasn't here.
I submitted some minutes that Tammy was gonna pass out or get out, she said.
Oh, so I guess we just don't have them for tonight.
So we could just do that at the next meeting.
Okay.
Is there anything, should I stick for the future discussion or?
You are working to some degree on that whole item. Can you follow up with the select board, or who's gonna follow up with the select board to find out if they're gonna vote on it?
Let's you and I talk on that.
Okay,
But I've made a note that we need
Okay.
to do that.
Yeah, because we need to know if it's happening, when it's happened. And then, I mean, it's not really gonna change the practical nature of this, it's.
Mhm.
But I think it would have some relevance as we start to get some applicants.
yeah, definitely.
And then you said there was April training.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could come in April to the meeting and provide some training.
Sounds like it might be earliest we might start with the new paradigm.
Mhm.
So we would need to do it effectively, no, the date that becomes effective, so when ideally would it just be the next month, is that?
So,
That would be
Yeah,
okay.
you act on it next, like, we're
I
gonna.
think we might go to the next select.
yeah, and the way the resolution is written, it's effective immediately once the resolution is written. So, and it,
We have it. Select board doesn't.
great. Yeah, and if there's any other questions, I don't know, like if you anticipate there being like questions or issues, but okay.
Just it, you guys were there, I think it was a fairly sort of seamless thing. The board did vote the budget, that it is in the budget for this committee to be paid a stipend.
Okay,
Great.
Effective January 1st of this year, which might encourage. It's the huge sum.
you mean we're getting paid right now?
$50 a meeting.
How does that work? Do we have to apply for that or anything?
It's pretty good. The one other town I know that does this is Sheldon. I think they have some sort of sign-in sheet at the meetings.
And it will save you.
Yeah, I mean, that works too.
So is there more than you need?
I don't think so. Just wanted to see if you know, I should plan to be at the next select board meeting, but it sounds like okay, great. Thanks.
And you can join the Zoom, yeah.
Okay.
Then we're we put on the agenda that we were talking about the future of the planning commission. Because you're going on and you're going.
You waited until they have the plan done?
It would be really nice if you guys didn't go.
I mean, it really is a time issue. Well, I am commuting almost 2 hours every day. It's sort of cramping my style a little bit.
It's understandable. And certainly don't blame you. I think both Ken and I are thinking about how much we've invested in thinking about the town plan vision. But at the same time, we're pretty early in this. Is there anybody that either of you know who's interested?
It's that time of year where we don't see anybody, you know, it's just, but at town meeting day, those people, yeah.
If this, if it's true, then you would not be coming to the March 16th meeting. So it would be just you and I ahead of that. And that's okay, but it would be nice.
Be nice to have more.
And it would actually be nice to have somebody that we could bring up to speaking quickly. That would understand some of this. Yeah. That'd be the chicken part. We don't have a lot of public, involvement, so we haven't had.
We had a lot of people who came to that outreach meeting,
Sure.
and I wonder if there are some names on there that.
Yeah, especially now that people are getting $50 a meeting, maybe
Right.
that could help.
Could we put out a message?
Yeah. On the crier, absolutely would be the perfect place to do it.
Yeah, and I think town meeting day might be a good opportunity too, to see if
Yeah.
there's anyone else.
And town meeting day is March 2nd, or 3rd, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming up fast.
Okay. I'm glad to speak at the town meeting, you're coming, town meeting, pretty to the village. And if you too
I'll be there,
were able to say,
yeah.
I would actually think rather than he and I, if you were to say, we're leaving, but this has been the most exciting time.
Exhilarating. Fascinating.
The only reason we're leaving is because you're getting paid millions. But, you know, if you were to say something,
Be happy to.
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Well, thank you again.
Yeah.
For coming out.
Yeah, of course.
It's nice.
Take care.
Good.
Will we adjourn this meeting?
All right, so 8:47. Cool. Good job, everybody. But I'm gonna miss you. Yeah. I can't believe it. It's already like,
Larry just got appointed. Seems like,
What's that?
seems like you just got appointed back on here, now we're losing you.